Hello and welcome back to the WhiSKR Whispers podcast. This time, if you would like to support the show, you can check us out at Rogue Energy. Single packs are back in stock with 5 great flavors to choose from. And we have raspberry pineapple tubs now back in stock. Use our code WhiSKR Whispers to receive 10% off your order. And if you want to check out the samples, you'll pay only for shipping. Today, we are talking about animal control. So, Kevin, let's hear your immediate thoughts on the topic.
And your recent experiences with this topic.
I think that the best type of animal control is murder.
So you're not a vegan, is what you're telling us?
No, I'm not a vegan.
But
This
are
is
you a
news
V
to me.
again?
Excuse me, Rick?
Are you a V again?
Always.
So what has brought you to this conclusion that the best form of animal control is murder? Is this akin to the best form of punishment for crimes is execution?
Well,
Absolutely.
there's a bobcat in my yard, and I have a 13-year-old dog who doesn't notice the presence of the bobcat when I put her outside. And I was trying to get rid of the bobcat, and I just went like at it, and it scurried off. And then I went out again, and that motherfucker was back there. And my wife is currently medically indisposed in a facility away from here, and I wished to get rid of said bobcat. So I started pelting rocks at it, and the rocks were quite small, and that was not very effective. And Steven was there in Discord chat when I did this. So I finally had the brilliant idea of taking my power washer out of the shed. And at first I just sprayed it like kind of lightly, and that wasn't working. It didn't seem to enjoy it. But then I turned it on to the setting that strips oil paint off of concrete. And it made a pretty loud ouchie noise, and it fucked right off, and then it was back today. So I see no other solution than killing it.
Has it crossed your mind that this creature may enjoy pain and it has returned for more?
If it likes
You're merely
pain,
just giving it gratifying pleasure?
if it likes pain, I can kill it in a painful way instead of a humane way.
I don't think that's okay.
I think there's a greater point that we're missing other than your humane versus painful way. If it does indeed enjoy pain, would that make it a masochist?
I think the more important point is it's not usual for you to have bobcats arrive in your garden.
Well,
and to ask you the question of, do you think that this is linked to the wildfires in your region?
this is all very interesting you say that, because we only moved here in October, and after I spoke to you early this morning and I was heading to bed, I noticed that a Google search for bobcats Calgary suggested that these had been increasingly present in the city for the last 2 years, and that 3 weeks ago a bobcat attacked a woman as she was walking in a park unprovoked. So apparently the city, there have always been like a few bobcats in my area of the city, which is the southwest, because we're near a boreal forest. But now bobcats are all over the city. I mean, I'm sure there are some dynamics not tied to the wildfires that are leading to their movement. But the provincial government, first of all, so the city will take your call and report the sighting, and the jurisdiction for this is held by the province of Alberta, Fish and Wildlife. But they will not respond unless it is an aggressive bobcat. But last time they called in an aggressive bobcat, Fish and Wildlife refused to respond on the basis of the notion that the bobcat was protecting its young. which again makes me feel like I have no choice but to engage in kitty side. I mean,
what if the bobcat has no young and they're mistaken? I mean, have they communicated with the bobcat? Have they used telepathy or some sort of animal mind whispering that we're not privy to the technological underpinnings of?
I would think that police were probably called to the scene and reported that, because I know, actually, I was told that people were told to stand down, which I presume means that people with firearms were there ready to take that little fucker out. And that they reported that, oh, there are kittens or whatever you call those little fucks that it produces by fucking other bobcats. And that in the style of Donald Trump, they were told to what did Donald Trump say before the Capitol insurrection? He said, stand down and stand by.
Yep, something like that.
Pretty sure that's what these Fish and Wildlife officers told the police, because the animal control...
They sound like actually rather inefficient wildlife.
You see, what really fascinates me about this is I'm from Australia, and everyone thinks Australia has the most brutal, deadly animals in the world, yet we don't have Mexican standoffs with our wildlife and firearms, because honestly, the only thing that's really going to get into a residential area that's considered wildlife, apart from, snakes and spiders,
which are not scary at all,
which can be defeated by footwear or a garden rake or a garden spade,
really
shovel.
Fuck around with a snake using only footwear?
No,
Okay.
You wouldn't, unless you had boots with the little, the socks that come up over the top that enclose them fully in your foot.
I'd want thigh-high boots to do that.
You're talking about a bobcat. I've got a little bobcat of my own here who's begging me for food, but there's another 13 minutes before she gets any.
13 minutes?
But yeah, I've never known or never seen a need for wildlife to be ritualistically executed in the Australian suburbia. It's much more likely that
urban area.
Yeah. It's much more likely, I'd say, that a kangaroo or a koala or a wombat is to become roadkill.
If I could,
it is to be actively murdered.
If I could, well, I mean, if there was a way by which I could arrange for it to actively be roadkilled, I would. I genuinely don't want to have to kill this animal, but I don't feel like I have much of a choice. What alternative suggestions
have you considered that maybe the cat just wants to be loved and you should adopt it?
Have you tried one of those cat fascinator type things, like a cat toy, and have you tried playing with it?
Well, apparently the way to attract bobcats is to place peat moss and on the ground and aluminum foil in a tree or bush above it. And I have no peat moss. I have aluminum foil, and I have the fishing wire that I would need to attach it, and I have the micro drill that I would need to make a hole in it. But apparently bobcats don't make for good pets, the internet says, because a bunch of morons Google whether they can adopt these bobcats. And the answer seems to be a pretty universal, you're a fucking idiot.
But they are cute.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, they're cute in pictures. In real life, when you're seeing them move around in the dark, they're kind of ominous. They're like kind of like, and they walk in this really weird like thing where they cover their own like paw marks. It's very
because they don't want their tracks to be tracked.
Yeah, but right now I'm worried that because earlier today I found I was doing a sweep of the yard when it wasn't there to see if there was anything attracting it, or that could have possibly, motivated its presence. And under my deck, I found a chicken bone from a drumstick. And I had drumsticks last week, and I'm pretty sure it was one of those bones.
Were you sitting on the deck when you?
No, I was.
Things?
No, I was under the deck. I was on my stomach with a flashlight. Okay. So I think it got into the trash can, which is supposed to be animal proof, and may have found these chicken bones. Well, it wouldn't have been the trash can; it would have been the compost can.
Wait, you compost your chicken bones?
We have industrial compost here, where the city has we have 3 bins. We have garbage, which is picked up every second week. We have recycling, which is picked up every week, and we have compost, which is picked up every week. All foodstuffs, including chicken, including all meat products, can go into industrial compost. Feces cannot, diapers cannot, but pretty much anything that's organic can go in, and it's used to produce cleaner energy, basically.
Okay. We do have some of those compostable trash bags that we have never found a use for, because once they arrived at the house, I looked at the box and saw that they're, compostable in industrial facilities, and such a thing does not exist in a backwards ass red state cock of America. But
I mean, I'm in the Texas of Canada. I was shocked when they had composting here, because they had it before Montreal did, and Montreal is like a progressive lefty city.
I mean, the most dangerous thing about compost is the fire hazard it poses.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point, if it can produce energy, it can produce fucking fire, right? I'd really like to compost that kitty, though.
Could you put the bobcat in the industrial compost?
Alive.
Yeah. Alive. I was telling you what my idea was, Stephen. I can share on the other screen here. See, so if we look at my
oh God, this idea is not something I'd pursue. If you thought it made an unpleasant sound when you sprayed it with water from your pressure washer, but it's going to make a mighty unpleasant sound when you apply this other device to it.
No, it would be 2 devices, and you or Rick would be helping me here. So the idea,
I would not be participating.
Why not? I think you should.
I'm a big fan of cats, large and small.
I don't mind them when they're not posing a risk to my dog. I find
I would just put that down to natural selection and may the greater predator win.
Yeah, no, when you anthropomorphize something, it becomes very, very difficult to do that. Oh, look, my address is on the screen.
Applying emotion to something is flawed.
Why?
Because it does not allow you to make pragmatic
I know
decisions.
that symbol for Canada Tire.
Canadian Tire, sir.
Okay, well, it has been a whole long while since I've been a tired Canadian, so.
Yes. But my point being is that this seemed like a really good strategy when I was very sleep deprived this morning, as I own this beauty right here, the Husqvarna ST124 212cc2 gas-powered snowblower with 2 stages. And the 2 stages means that, as we're about to see if the page ever loads, it has these it has a built-in cyclotron, but we'll get to that later. These beautiful blades here are meant to cut up ice chunks, because otherwise ice chunks would get into the mechanism and would completely block it up. So these will grate up your ice, meaning that they could probably grate up flesh pretty easily. And the reason I say that is because when I was in Montreal, a truck.
I would also assume that it says on the box, "Do not place limbs into device."
Well, we've had proof of that because when I lived in Montreal, they placed these on the front of giant trucks, and these trucks blow the snow into other trucks behind them with like dump trucks, and that's how they clear the snow. And in Montreal a couple of years ago, there was a drunk homeless man who passed out in the snowbank, and then it snowed some more. So he was covered in snow. He was presumably still alive, but basically the truck with the version of this that was much larger turned him into shreds, and he was then propulsed in a fine pink mist into the dump truck behind him. So we know that it works on flesh. So my logic was that you or Rick could come here and basically use. I mean, look at this. This is an even better example of how sharp the blades on these things are. Like, these are not to be fucked around with. So one of you guys could spray the cat with the pressure washer whilst I moved in its general direction with this and the blades whizzing, and hopefully I could catch it. But then the part of this that doesn't work is that then, because of the positioning of the cat, the pink mist would go all over my deck and pergola.
And then you could use the pressure washer to clean it up.
Yeah, I think that you're missing the actual problem with this.
What's that?
Which is that
you don't have a
you
passport?
are going to have a cornered, frightened, and quite possibly very lightly wounded cat that is within melee distance of your body.
Yes, but there's a very
within melee distance is my favorite part of that sentence.
Roll 20-sided die. No, Rick, there's a very good reason for this, because based on the architecture of my yard, we look back and we have the garage, and on each side of the garage there's a passageway that's basically just wide enough for me to fit, so maybe 2.5 to 3 feet, I don't know. And the cat was on one of the sides of that, so this is wider than the passageway because it says 24 inches, but it's wider. So that thing could just be blocking the exit to its one way out, but it could probably jump up on the fence.
Wait. If it's got one way out, I was going to say, why don't you just get it out of your yard and then block that one way out, and your problem is solved?
Well, my other one way out has a gate that's supposed to block. Well, I mean, it certainly blocks my dog from going anywhere. The cat somehow went right through it, not over it, through it. So these gates are like useless.
Apply some chicken wire to the gate.
I haven't.
I'm guessing it's a gate with horizontal, vertical.
It's an accordion gate.
Oh, I would say that the beast has pounced above it.
No, I was watching. Like, it did not go above it. It went probably through one of the diamond-shaped gaps, meaning they can probably fit through very small spaces.
So what you're saying is it's not a bobcat, but a shapeshifter.
Yes.
If a cat's skull can fit through an opening, the rest of its body can follow.
If it's what can fit?
Skull.
If a cat's skull can fit through an opening, the rest of its body can follow. That's what their whiskers are for.
And they have pretty tiny skulls, these bobcats, compared to their bodies, because they're like twice the size of a house cat. But their heads are pretty small, like probably like maybe a softball and a half.
Nature's perfect predator.
If the openings are substantial, then the cat can absolutely get through. But in regards to the cat jumping, that is the other problem with your whole, this is wide enough to block off the path. It's not tall enough to stop the cat from going over.
Okay, that's a fair point.
I think you just need to adopt the Australian methodology of security and make your yard as unappealing as possible to this bobcat in order to make the neighbor's yard more appealing.
My yard is made up of rocks, a fire pit, and like a tree and some random bush. and it's nowhere near the bush.
Try naming that random bush George.
We haven't named the bush yet, to be fair.
Actually, you know what might even be better than that, Jeb?
I think
No,
anthropomorphizing the bush would just make his problem worse.
This bush is actually...
Because then he wouldn't trim the bush, and then he'd end up with a monkey in the bush, and he'd be like, how do I get the monkey out of my garden? I know, I'll use my snowblower.
No, this is definitely a bush trimming kind of household. I can tell you that much.
So would you say that you're into topiary?
Soon to be sponsored by Manscaped.
Could you have a topiary of a bobcat that was more aggressive looking than this other bobcat? And then by having a more aggressive appearing topiary bobcat.
Maybe I could rent a bobcat and have it scare off the other bobcat.
Maybe you could hire a children's like clown entertainer and say, yeah, the party's out in the back, except there's no one there and they just have to entertain an empty yard. Except that yard may also happen to contain a bobcat.
Without naming any names, don't you actually know a clown entertainer? Like,
no, I don't know any actual clowns. I know people that I'd refer to as clowns.
I thought you knew a clown. I thought you both knew a clown.
I don't know any professional card-carrying clowns.
Oh, you know amateur. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the amateur clown scene. I don't know that clown scene is really the...
It must be.
Right.
Apparently it
vernacular.
is, actually. Apparently it is. It's becoming more and more popular lately.
I heard of
I mean, what with the growing cost of living, acting as a clown is an attractive side gig. It requires minimal training, minimal gear, minimal equipment.
But you have to deal with
I believe it actually helps you as a clown if you don't have an active police check.
Yes, and I definitely do not have one of those. I can assure you.
Have we all watched the film The Joker?
I have.
Yes.
Because that's a pretty damn good film.
It really is.
It really is. And he was a really good Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. I mean, like, why did you do this to us, dude? Like, you didn't need to off yourself, motherfucker.
I mean, it was part of the show, I guess.
Do you think that was like the Joker's grand finale? Was his, well, I hate to say it, his suicide?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't really see any other way of looking at it, to be honest.
Who was the director of the Joker film?
Wasn't it Nolan?
Yeah, because that's what I just want to check.
No,
Todd Phillips.
We're talking about different movies, Kevin.
Which one are we talking? Well, we're talking about the Joker.
Christopher Nolan directed the last Batman trilogy.
Yeah, he didn't direct the Joker as well.
No.
Oh,
and that was Heath Ledger that died from that movie.
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix was the Joker in Joker.
Oh yeah, I'm like completely blank.
And he is still very much alive.
Yeah, yes. That's what I was thinking. I was just looking up. Like, Joaquin Phoenix is he's kicking.
You know, he is. And I did see the 2019 film The Joker.
That's the one I was referring to.
Directed by Todd Phillips. Yeah.
It's a good depiction of a clown's life.
Starring...
But I think what that film tried to get across is that we are all clowns in our day-to-day life.
It also, I guess, would bring about a context in which the ontology of the clown can be highly divergent from one person to the next, no?
I think that's best displayed by the dressing room scene.
Yeah, but like, are we looking for a good clown or a bad clown?
I don't know that there's a distinction. There are just clowns.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right.
Clowndom is not a spectrum. You're either a clown or not a clown.
But weren't we just talking about like the flexibility of clowning?
Yeah.
I wasn't clowning around when we were having that conversation.
I mean, the conversation you and I were having yesterday, where you were quoting various things from various websites, I was astonished at how poor the grammar and expression
Oh my
was
god!
on
I
those
know.
things. Are you able to bring up those websites so that we might review them from a literary context?
I believe so. How to? It was something. How to?
And what we're getting at is that you should find the administrators of this website and send them the VOD of this particular podcast as a formal letter of your displeasure and complaint. This is
I
just a
think
literary
that
critique.
complaining about someone's grammar in a video and then sending it as a letter would result in your complaint being file 13 because obviously
It is vexatious.
well, no, a video is not a letter.
We could send them an email. I used letter as a term of expression.
The one issue with this is that
Send them a multimedia presentation fashioned as a complaint.
Yeah, but I already spoke to the gentleman's widow, and he was unfortunately killed by a bobcat.
I was going to ask if that was the case.
Yeah.
Did a bobcat also eat their basic English grammar textbook?
I did not get around to that because I brought her to tears as I was asking this. So this is how to trap a bobcat, step by step. A quick and easy guide written. Oh, updated. So he died recently. Or maybe it's his widow that updated it. Izzy here.
I was just on this topic about people dying recently. I was listening to a podcast this morning about someone who had gone to France and had ordered something off their menu. Mm-hmm. And the waiter asked them, "Do you know how to make that?" And they said, "Well, isn't that what your barman's for, to make me that drink?" And the French waiter apparently responded to this individual, "No, the barman died." It's kind of like, but when? And has he been replaced? And importantly, are you okay? And are you responsible in some way? I just want this beverage, please.
Did you cause the death of the bartender? Is the critical question in this scenario? I mean, I think I would be asking that. Yeah.
But anyway, go on. I thought that was a funny anecdote.
I did too. I think. It was,
do you know where the barman never dies? At Rogue Energy, if they use our referral code.
Or use the referral code WhiSKR Whispers to obtain 10% off your order and support the show.
Beautiful.
Look at that natural insertion.
Rogue Energy, they'll sponsor anybody. Wait, sorry, they're not our sponsor. They will affiliate market anybody.
Okay, so there's a lovely little image of a bobcat attempting to sell Rogue Energy content.
Yes, it's actually quite cute from that perspective.
It's a chunky boy, though. That's an aggressive chunky boy.
Yeah. First of all, you must track bobcats to know the exact location where these cats could be found. Could be found? Wouldn't it be would be found or are to be found or will be found? These cats.
I mean, this says that you need to track it first. I don't think you need to track it first if it arrives at your location.
Yeah, if the
and it arrives at your location on a regular basis.
I mean, if the fucker is in your backyard already, I think you're pretty much set. Yeah, and
I read this from a motor racing enthusiasm point of view, and tracking a bobcat takes on an entirely different perspective and meaning to me. It means to take the bobcat civil construction equipment to a racetrack.
And what do you do with it once you've arrived at the racetrack?
You race it.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
This could also be.
I believe the proper terminology is you lose the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this could also be taken in the context of some sort of heinous equivalent to equine racing, where you have a track around which bobcats rush.
Wouldn't they
in
attack
pursuit
each
of
other?
Trophies?
Don't you think they'd spend most of their time attacking each other, though, to be completely honest?
I don't know. They might be thoroughbred racing bobcats.
It's not
But
impossible.
anyway,
Yeah.
we can see some paw prints and a finger that's entered the photograph for some reason, because even if it was used as a sense of scale, it's irrelevant, because that I cannot tell if that's a parallax error and the finger's being held at waist height or is adjacent to the bobcat's paw print. That's my input as a professional photographer.
I generally don't think it's being used for scale. I think it's being used for
to indicate that this is what a bobcat's paw print looks like.
Well, let's see. Is there a caption? Bobcat tracks in the snow. Oh, it says you should also investigate the bobcat poop if you find it in any area, as it could be a good source of information for ultimately catching the cat. By bobcat poop. Okay, I love this sentence. By bobcat poop, you can analyze their food source and the availability of this food in nearby areas. And now,
at a glance, certainly, I can say yes. It eats a diet that mainly consists of protein and what's that thing that cats can't synthesize? Taurine.
But there's a guide here to what bobcat poop looks like. I
don't wish to go into that. It looks just like regular cat shit, just slightly larger.
Wait, it describes something here that I'm curious about. How does a bobcat...
I thought you had already read this, sir.
Not this page. I mean, this person. How does a bobcat's poop smell? The smell of a bobcat's poop.
I mean, this is all part of like scientific study, but what I want to get to is the part about how you should approach, and if you should not approach the poop, approach the beast itself.
Oh, look, if you want to know the difference between coyote poop and bobcat poop, that's how you do it. But yes, how to approach. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Because that's the bit that stuck with me and kept me sleepless last night.
What section was it in? Was it in... I think it was right under this lovely photo, right?
That's very cute.
Yes. Now comes the final steps which you must take for making this setting ideal. First of all, you must cover your own tracks, as this thing could be suspicious of the incoming bobcat. I'm not 100% sure what that means. What is this thing?
It means a man with a construction gear.
And suspicious of being suspicious too.
Yes. You must have a quick look around the area and try to put things where these things were previously placed.
In other words, mise en place, which you are the only person in the fucking world that actually understands.
Mise en place. The trap must be fully covered with the surrounding material, as we have mentioned before. Try to cover your footprints with the dirt in the surrounding area. Put all the rocks in their proper places. I mean...
I don't know where the rocks came from, but I'm putting them in their proper place.
And to be fair, while, yes, grammatically terrible, this advice it naturally would not pertain to your yard. It is more in the wilderness setting where...
yes.
I mean, it's not saying put every single rock back where it was, but make sure that you're not making obvious changes to the environment, which would naturally alert said bobcat to the presence of something untoward.
I concur wholeheartedly, although I do like reading this with like a high degree of literalism, because it's just fucking hilarious.
It is. I just got to be here to rain on the parade. I'm in Florida, remember? The Sunshine State.
The Sunshine State.
You know what else is referred to as the? You know what else is referred to as the Sunshine State here in Australia? Queensland.
Oh boy,
it's literally on there. It's literally
Florida,
written.
You know, DeSantis is going to kick them right out.
It's literally written on Queensland issued license plates, like below the thing. You know how every state has a tagline on its number plates. Yeah, that's on Queensland license plates.
Okay, that's
Florida's
just
as well.
Weird.
Yeah.
And just a shout out to our good friend I420 Spitfire, who is here in the chat. It is good to see him as well. He is a friend of the program.
Although, wait.
Who are you going to say he's a
Wait.
bobcat?
If you 420, then you don't spit fire. You spark fire and then inhale it. You spit smoke.
I think that this I420 Spitfire gentleman is just an enthusiast as it pertains to doing badass things like spitfiring. Trapping.
I thought you were going to say in terms of like individualism and supporting us, but you know, I'll accept other hobbies.
I'm curious to know if he has sound on. Hey, I420 710 Spitfire, do you fuck with bobcats? Like, have you ever had to deal with one? Because if so, you're more than welcome to join us. Because we really need some advice on how to.
We don't. You do.
Well,
I believe this is just, you know, next week's show. You're going to come back with half of your head of hair missing, an eye patch, a massive bandage around your arm, a t-shirt that is half on and half off because there's another bandage across your chest that cannot be removed. You know, you're going to look like someone who's literally been in a war, savaged by a bobcat. And then you're going to say, so the plan didn't work. And I am now the bobcat's little bitch. And
I will never
we've learned to harmonize.
Wait, I420 710 Spitfire says, LOL, I do. What does he mean by that?
He probably means he do have the sound on because that was the very first thing that you asked.
Okay, I was wondering. I thought he fucked with bobcats because if he fucked with bobcats, we would need to know.
Can you scroll down 2 paragraphs because there's a point I wish to make in the paragraph after you must wait at least 3 to 4 weeks.
Yes. Oh, 420 Spitfire has not messed with a bobcat. Damn it. I'm trying to scroll down, but the screen is frozen for some fucking reason.
Operator error.
Yeah, I concur.
He
has to wait 3 to 4 weeks in order to scroll down. Such is the design of this website. It's actually far more sophisticated than it would first seem.
Yeah, I mean, they must have a very intense Cascade style sheet here because, like, it's my mouse cursor will not move on this computer. But I mean, you know, maybe the maintenance of the site has been neglected ever since the moment when its writer was killed by a bobcat.
I feel like that's like every book in every RPG game where it's like a cautionary tale against basilisks, and this author was defeated by a basilisk.
Basilisks, a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
By Stephen.
They'll turn you to stone.
Yeah, it's still oh, my mouse cursor has completely disappeared.
Here, I'll replace the cursing for the mouse. Fuck.
No, that's that. Now you sound like a chicken.
Is that kind of the goal?
I mean, he's been sounding like a chicken this entire time. He's afraid of a fucking bobcat.
I mean...
Oh, Spitfire says, unless you're talking about a Bobcat 300 Miner, then yes, it's an HNT hotshot. Wow.
So they have the same thing. Like tracking a bobcat to them means taking a bobcat out to the Indy 500 track and doing some sick laps.
I think we need to have this guy on as a guest at some point to talk about his experiences with bobcats, because I mean, no joke. We need to learn about how to peacefully coexist with these creatures, and by peacefully coexist, I mean
kill them.
No, I think the other computer's just completely crashed because it just disappeared.
Yeah, probably.
So the Bobcat page made my other computer crash.
What is this? What is this page? Bobcat control in, where do you live? Calgary?
Yeah, but this is wildlyanimals.com /how-to-trap-a-
Wildly animals. That's your former place. Let's see. I'm going to see what the official Calgary website says to me. Oh, that's an even cuter picture of a bobcat.
You know what the funny thing about the official Calgary site is? It copy pasted what's set, or vice versa, what's on the Alberta Fish and Game wildlife control website. They say the exact same thing in the exact same words, just
and
brutal.
Only one of them references to the other. Calgary goes, go read Alberta's website, but Alberta's like, don't go and read Calgary's website. Don't do that.
Like, Alberta just sucks bags of dicks.
Put your garbage containers with tight-fitting lids.
We've done that.
Keep your garbage and recycling out only on the morning of collection. Remove bird feeders and bird baths so bobcats are not drawn to your yard to prey on the birds.
We definitely don't have those because even though I love them, Meredith hates the magpies that hang out around here.
Add motion detector lighting to walkways and driveways.
We have it already.
What about a motion detecting sprinkler?
We're not allowed to have sprinklers by decree of the.
Wait! I got it.
What about a motion detecting pressure washer?
That sounds like fun.
That smile.
Gatling gun.
What now?
A motion detecting Gatling gun.
I mean, I literally asked the.
You should also be aware that on here there's the Alberta Reporter Poacher line.
Yes.
I don't know if Calgary has that, but you could attempt to report a poacher for the bobcat, and that the bobcat needs to be removed for its own safety. Otherwise, the poacher will get it.
Or report the bobcat for poaching.
Oh.
Or you could poach the bobcat and have a mighty fine stew.
That bobcat does not have a hunting license.
In that respect, when I was speaking to the city guy last night, I asked him if I could shoot
He's
the
the city guy.
No, I asked him.
City guy.
I go,
he doesn't
I know
have a name. He's just a city guy.
Actually, his name was Alex. I remember that.
Alex, the city guy.
Alex from 311, very friendly Alex from the 311 line in the city of Calgary. I said to him, I know discharging a firearm within city limits is against the law, but do you think I could maybe, take care of this fucker? And it had said no cursing, but he tolerated my cursing, so mad props to him for that. And he works the night shift at the complaint center for a city. So this guy,
I think he's heard a few profanities in his time.
I'll be honest with you. This guy sounded really happy considering what he was doing at the time, like almost joyful.
He was in a bobcat-free environment. Of course, he was happy.
He was also probably jointful, so that helps.
Yeah.
Well,
he's probably also being compensated.
Speaking as someone who has worked third shift call centers,
I've
never worked.
As have I.
I've worked second shift call centers and first shift call centers.
I've done 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. It's a wonderful shift.
It is.
Do you get less calls or more calls?
You get fewer calls, but generally they're either working professionals like nurses or doctors or those who work in jobs that are also in a night shift. So you're talking to your own people in a way, because night shift workers are night shift workers. They don't really have much to do, and when they're not doing their work, they want to make the most effective use of their time that they possibly can.
Which is
so they're generally pretty efficient, if a little dopey, because working night shifts like that does actively make you less intelligent for the period you're working them.
No, it fucks with you. Yeah, I can understand
that. So I spoke to many wonderfully intelligent yet dazed medical workers, drivers,
heroes,
factory workers,
heroes,
prison wardens,
heroes,
petrol station attendants,
heroes,
bakers,
definitely heroes.
Commercial chefs,
superheroes,
nightclub workers, cleaners, music professionals, entertainers, you know, all of these jobs that happen while most people are sleeping.
Each and every one of them a hero.
Except maybe the prison wardens.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of that.
Anyway,
yeah.
Alex from the city doing night shift was cheery because he got to disappoint you. If he was terse about it, how would have that made you feel? You would have been outraged. He has to appear to be happy about this. Otherwise, you're going to get outraged. The situation's going to escalate.
No.
The whole idea of working in a call center is to de-escalate the situation.
But that's not at all how the conversation went.
Wait, let me say this again. The whole idea of working in a call center is to de-escalate the situation.
Okay, but what happens when you get a caller who
See how you're happier now that I said it with more sprightly happiness in my voice?
I'm happy because I want to tell you how this interaction with Alex went.
So what you're saying is you'd give him a 10 out of 10 and you would recommend him to a friend or a colleague.
Yes. So I go to Alex. Yeah, there's this bobcat. I don't know what to do. And I end it with like the fucker just scurried off. And he goes, well, yeah, I can take a report. This is Alberta Fish and Wildlife. The city animal controller only trained to deal with regular household cats and dogs. I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't want to waste your time. Like, I get that it's basically pointless to fill this out. And that's not an issue. I mean, he's like, oh yeah, it is, but it just takes me about 10 seconds to do. I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. Like, we just had a very casual conversation. I had no expectation of anything resulting from this call at that point. And I didn't begrudge him for it.
But it was life-changing.
Yes, it was paradigm altering.
Do elucidate.
I realized that the government of Alberta
is powerless to stop a feeble bobcat.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know if I'd say feeble, but
hey, they even say here on their list as the best situation is to make your property unattractive to wildlife.
When I hear that, when I read that, what I hear or understand
is put concrete everywhere.
That, which they're actively discouraging. But I also hear the bobcat is more important than you. Go fuck yourself and suck a bag of dicks.
What I hear is soulbound reward cards.
You could have a militant approach to this, because when I got married, my co-workers from my place of employment sent me a gift, and all my co-workers knew that I have a cat and I love my cat.
Yes.
It's not a bobcat. I just need to add that.
Is its name Bob?
No, that's my neighbor's name. He's a great guy. Not even joking.
I don't know any Bobs.
They sent me a wedding gift, which consisted of a houseplant. Now, the houseplant was a breed of lily that is toxic to cats.
Okay. Oh.
You don't give someone a cat a gift of a plant that is toxic to cats.
For a second, I didn't process that.
I might also add that this same plant is also toxic to dogs, yet is a common houseplant.
Did you feel like
all over the world?
Absolute cunts about this?
Lilies, orchids, poinsettia, just avoid them if you have pets, period.
Full stop. Yeah. One of these people that was actively engaged in making the decision about what to get me has 2 dogs.
Oh my fucking god. You gotta be kidding.
Another has dogs and cats in their household.
And is it widely known that this thing is bad for these animals?
It says it on the bloody tag that this thing comes with.
Oh, for fuck's sake. What kind of morons are these people? The ones.
So when I went back to work, I thanked them for their gift and let them know that I gave it to a friend who doesn't have pets.
Yeah, even if you like give something like
so
that.
What I'm saying to you, Kevin, is you should fill your plant life in your garden with orchids, poisonettas, ivies, lilies, all of these things. and then eventually you'll wear down the bobcat's liver.
Do you know?
Yeah, either you will make your yard sufficiently unappealing to him, or you will win through the war of attrition.
Do you know what kind of grow zone I live in here in Alberta?
You could get a little portable pop-up greenhouse.
Yeah, I could, and that would cost a lot more than. Holy fuck! I didn't think of something. You know what I could do to get rid of the cat without violating city ordinances? I mean, I'd be violating the poaching rules, but I don't really give a fuck about that. I could get a bow and arrow.
Can you shoot a bow and arrow?
I've hunted deer with a bow and arrow.
A
Successful.
bobcat is way more agile than a deer.
Yeah, but I mean, I did kill the deer, not in the best way possible, but I mean, it was pretty humane, all things considered.
Because if you don't hit something with a bow and arrow and you merely graze it, you go back to the whole thing of now you have an injured, aggressive, wild animal.
Well, I could talk to my neighbor Mike, whom I feel is probably quite similar to Bob, and be like, "Hey, Mike, can you hold the power washer on the cat while I shoot it with the bow and arrow?" Because
again, probably going to be making the cat faster and not slower.
Mike doesn't like the bobcat either, because Mike and Teresa, our neighbors, saw the bobcat running through their front yard, and they've lived here for 30 years, and they still call it the city.
None of which answers the question, though.
Yeah.
What's the ultimate question?
Do you actually think you're going to kill the cat with a bow and arrow?
Do I think I will, or do I think I could?
Do you think you will?
I think that if conditions were perfect and I had backup, and if it was in the same, it was pretty low to the ground. I mean, essentially, I'd either get a headshot or I'd hit the fence.
See, that right there tells me no. Because if you know how to use a bow, you are not aiming for the head.
No, I don't have a choice but to aim for the head because of the way it's kind of like positioned. Like, if I was aiming for the center mass while it's sitting down, it would be too small and the angle would be too...
I feel like you don't need a bow and arrow. I feel like you need a harpoon gun.
My brother-in-law has a harpoon gun.
What I would do is just let nature take its course, and if the bobcat's going to murder any local existing wildlife, you would then need to make a precedent against the county or whoever's responsible in the county for reasonable recompense for your chattel, i.e. your pupper.
So,
because I don't know, we're talking about something that could be an eventuality.
Yeah.
But you would not want to be the eventuality, but it would be an incredibly emotional precedent to set.
It would.
What if you just opened up a daycare for toddlers in your backyard? You acquired the appropriate permits and hired the clown, hired the children, but hired the parents.
Actually, I have a reasonable and also reasonably cheap solution that
because
might not
I just need to finish my sentence here. Who would win, 10 toddlers or one bobcat?
One bobcat.
I don't see the problem here.
No, me neither. To be honest with you, but
sorry, Rick, go on.
All right, so I don't know if you are familiar with essential oils.
I am.
Okay.
I have some. I sniff them for anxiety relief sometimes.
Perfect.
There's the opposite.
Cinnamon, citrus, pennyroyal, peppermint, pine, sweet birch, tea tree, wintergreen, or ylang ylang.
I have at least 4 of those.
All right, all of those are highly toxic to cats, so maybe sprinkle those where the cat is.
Are they toxic to dogs? Rick's googling it. Oh, the website is working again.
Toxicology report is pending.
Melaleuca, tea tree oil, pennyroyal, oil of wintergreen, and pine oils are all bad for dogs. Yes.
You lying is fine for dogs.
No, actually, no. The rest of the list was also this one really separated shit in ways that.
What I've learned is that no essential oils are appropriate for any form of life.
Pretty much.
I've heard that hippies treat illness, and Rick is probably going to say that he does this to some extent with essential oil of oregano.
I don't do shit with essential oils. However, somebody in my household does.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was referring to. But have you?
So what about if you put the essential oils in the pressure washer? You had such a large quantity of essential oil, and you had a pressure wash
oils in the pressure washer.
Instead of hooking it up to a water supply, you hooked it
then
up.
I wouldn't be able. I wouldn't
tankard
know.
Of
that, because then I'd have to put it in the soap dispenser bottle, and that limits you to the lowest spray level. So I wouldn't be able to get enough velocity.
No. Instead of having the pressure washer attached to your tap, you were to order
buy a giant can.
a giant vat, place it on the ceiling of your house in order to obtain appropriate pressure, and then allow gravity feed into the pressure washer. And then be like, here is 140 liters of essential oil, retail value $7 million, to dispose of one bobcat.
Time to announce our new sponsor, some essential oil company.
We need 140 liters of rosemary oil, of truffle oil. Wait, these are the wrong oils.
Oh man, truffle oil. The real shit or the bad shit?
Real
stuff.
140 liters of actual real fucking truffle
infused,
oil.
not distilled, infused.
How much is the global yearly production of truffle oil in liters? Global production truffle oil per year. And this Bobcat thing is really fucking with my computer. Or maybe it's the fact that I have 30 tabs or more open. One of the two.
I just think it's because the Bobcat's behind you right now.
In 2022, the truffle oil market was valued at $32.53 million. It's going to increase by 4.6% per year.
Okay, so if they sponsor us with 0.01% of their takings.
The biggest market is North America, followed by Europe, followed by the Asia Pacific. But what is the production?
If the truffle oil industry were to sponsor us with 0.01% of their earnings, we'd make $32,500.
That would be pretty decent. I'd take that.
Truffle oil
per show, right?
No, just that can be an annual subscription. Truffle oil is amazing on potato, in risotto.
Yes.
In pasta-based dishes. In your garlic butter.
Yes.
Put it on everything. Truffle oil. It'll even attract bobcats to your dinner table.
There is also CalgaryBobcatServices.ca.
Services. So they deliver you a bobcat, and that bobcat does things such as clean, wash, mule aggressively, murder children at an outdoor daycare that's unlicensed. What services do they offer, Rick? Tell us.
Yeah, never mind. That's actually construction shit.
Oh, I went to that website. Yeah,
I would like to see a bobcat in an unlicensed daycare for toddlers running amok.
The solution is to dig out my entire yard with a bobcat
and put down a tarpaulin so that when the bobcat arrives, it would fall into a deep void, and then you could use the bobcat to heap soil upon it.
What would happen?
I used the bobcat to destroy the bobcat.
That's some Inception shit right there, bro.
But what would happen if another bobcat came to take the place of the bobcat that had previously been there?
Then you
Well,
feed it
according to
the
Calgary
with
Bobcat
the
Services, no job too big or too small. Big shout out to our sponsor, Calgary Bobcat Services.
Thank you to Calgary Bobcat Services for sponsoring the show tonight. You can
Their
find
services include breaking and removal, small and big load hauling, excavation, demolition, construction, and landscaping.
Wow.
They are trusted, experienced professionals, and they can work effectively with other trades on the job. So that daycare attendant you've got, that clown you've got, they'll be creating minimal disruptions and representing your company as if it were their own.
Prime Rogue Inc., sponsor of WhiSKR Whispers.
Hooray for purely fabricated comedic sponsor spots.
Prime Rogue Inc. canceled for wanting to kill bobcats.
Look, it's only you that wants to kill the bobcat. I'm all for the preservation of bobcat kind.
I own 90.
I believe that they are an endangered
Bobcat
species.
lives matter.
They are an important part of the civil engineering infrastructure.
Don't tase me, bro.
Although a bobcat with a taser. What if you were to put like a shock collar on it, and every time it came to your garden, it automatically got shocked with some sort of geofence?
Okay, so as with your surgery, I'm first to get a blow dart gun, hit it with a tranquilizer dart, place a shock collar on it, and then allow it to come back instead of just dissecting. That's some really good logic there. That's a very elegant and parsimonious approach.
I think the motion activated sprinklers would be effective.
I think that he's getting at the fact that it might be more effective than the bow and arrow, because we all know how full of hot air you are.
You know what else it doesn't like? The bobcat?
Other people's gardens.
It doesn't like this.
Okay, so you can do a motion activated sprinkler and floodlight.
We already spoke about.
Notice how both of those have water in common. It seems to dislike things with water.
The floodlight. The floodlight.
Who you should really be blaming for this situation is you need to get back on the phone to the lovely Alex from the city, or whatever his name was, and tell him you'd like to speak to Noah, who decided to put 2 bobcats on the ark. What a fucking moron.
You know, at least it's not a cougar. Have you
If
seen
it was a cougar, then you would have already taken it inside.
Yeah, there would be leopard print everywhere.
Cougars are fucking scary. I'm not scared of the bobcat, to be fair. Genuinely.
I'm also not scared of an inanimate construction piece of equipment.
That's good. But are you scared of...
I am, however, terrified of a feline operating it.
Are you scared of these murderous little cats?
Look, it depends on the day of the week.
It's
if you were to ask me on a Monday, I'd say bring it on. I'll 1v1 that fucker.
Do you think you could win a fight versus a bear?
Me?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Wait, do I have a 50 cal?
That's not a fight. That is a firefight.
Yeah, it's a type of fight. And if I had a 50 cal hand cannon, I'd feel pretty confident about my chances.
I would much rather live the lifestyle of a bear than try to fight a bear. I'd happily sit by that river trying to catch those salmon swimming upstream.
Don't we all already, to an extent, live the lifestyles of bears?
No, I don't hibernate for 3 months.
Once slept for 6 months. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but no.
But do you feel like you might feel a bit better about life if you did sleep for 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could sleep for 6 months, would you?
I mean, you
Yes.
can. You just need to get into a
Twice a
fight
year.
with a bear, get into a coma, and then you'll be asleep for 6 months.
Is a coma really being asleep? Like,
no, I don't think so.
me neither.
To your cognitive perspective, I imagine it would be. But it depends on
In
what
that
type
case,
of coma.
is being dead the same thing as being asleep?
Actually,
I'd say
no,
yes.
honestly, from a neurological perspective, coma is a state of consciousness akin to deep sleep, except no amount of external stimuli can prompt the brain to become awake and alert. Huh.
Okay.
But it has nothing to do with sleep. It's just the same areas of the brain. But these are also tied to unconsciousness.
What about if you were to take a escalating wildlife approach and introduce the bobcat's natural predator into your yard?
What is the natural predator of the bobcat?
I really hope the Google result says toddlers.
Well, I'm glad to tell you that human is one of them. So he's already there.
You're technically correct, yeah.
Otherwise, wolves, owls, foxes, coyotes, and
Oh, I would fucking pay money to see an owl take down a bobcat.
Me too.
Right? Like, I know owls are some vicious fuckers, but seriously, look at that fucking size difference, bro. How are you?
Do you know what that would be? That'd be a real hoot.
Yes, it would.
I'm looking for something right now.
Calgary Owl Services.
Even better. All right, let's share screens over here. If we can.
Don't break your computer again.
It very well might break, but I think it's worth watching this.
It's okay. He'll be dead due to bobcat attack soon anyway.
Yeah, the bobcat is slowly making its way in my house through the well, some might call it a boiler room. We call it a mech room here. But yeah, let's have a look at what this would look like in real life. This is called Bobcat v. Owl. All right. So that's an owl, and that's a bobcat. What's going on?
I feel like this is mislabeled. This is not Bobcat v. Owl. This is Owl enjoying the spoils.
Yeah.
This is Bobcat v. Owl. Bobcat v. Owl. How about Bobcat v. versus Hawk? That's good enough for me. Whoa, fuck.
Look at that motherfucking limbo.
Yeah. Damn, the bobcat is afraid. This is entertaining.
It is.
You see, if I'm the avian in this scenario, I'd just fly away because I can.
Fair point.
I think he just wants to fuck up the bobcat because he can.
Wouldn't he have to fly up to fuck and like pick up the bobcat to fuck it up? Wait, let's see if there are any more videos of this. Bobcat versus rattlesnake. Bobcat takes cat versus bobcat. My barn owl and cat getting along. Eurasian lynx, no. Bobcat is a threat to the owls? Oh, okay. So the owls are going to chase a bobcat away. Let's see how this works in real life. There's an owl nest and a bobcat's next to it. Oh god, look at that little tail.
And the owls are not happy about this at all.
There's the owl.
Could you put up some like scarecrows, except they're just owls?
You can buy fake owls at the hardware store here.
Maybe that would be a good way to make your yard unappealing to a bobcat.
I just want to see what they do to the bobcat to scare it away. Because maybe I could do that.
They probably just sit there.
That doesn't feel like enough. Oh wait, nope, stuff's going on.
They're just getting into formation.
Yep. It's like a squadron of owls. I mean, this would have been a lot cheaper than the F-22 or the F-35.
It kind of does look like a Middle Eastern piece of architecture there as well.
Why is there a child?
He's the toddler that was part of the daycare that was unlicensed.
Yeah, that daycare was shut down.
That
really.
daycare was named Bait.
Yeah. But okay,
So we've given you several options. Owls.
6-bit glitches in the house.
Owls, motion activated sprinklers and or floodlights.
Already
An unlicensed orphanage.
Yeah.
Supervised by a clown.
Mm-hmm.
Or you hire Calgary Bobcat Services and act really, really dumb when you're like, so you don't remove bobcats from yards? I got your number out of the phone book. I just thought that you dealt with bobcats.
But again,
only you record that phone call and then we play it back on our next episode.
I think you should do that one regardless, just because that's high quality entertainment right there. That would be almost as good as running a presidential campaign stop at Four Seasons Tire and Lube.
so you genuinely want me to call up Calgary Bobcat Services?
They say they'll give you a free quote, and they do have a 24/7 service number.
So you're saying to call the 24/7?
I could somehow, if you manage to call them with their 24/7 service number, I could pretend to be an Australian living in Canada, not knowing anything about Canada, and
I told them a friend gave you.
and say that I've gotten your number out of the phone book. I don't know how old this phone book is, but it was in the home when I moved in. I'm calling you from a landline. The bobcat was here, and I'm wondering if you are able to remove the bobcat from my yard.
But also, when you give the address or whatnot, you got to be like really bad and say like, "Yeah, I live in Calgary." I don't know. I want to call Gary, Al, or Berta, but
my name's Bruce. I'm from Australia. G'day, mate. How's it going? I got a bit of a problem. There's a bobcat in my yard.
G'day, mate.
I live in Calgary. I hear you do Calgary Bobcat Services.
No, say I live in the Killarney region of Calgary.
Killarney. I live in the Canary region of Calgary.
Yeah, pretty much. Killarney. Oh my, hey, my neighborhood starts with kill. So aren't we back to a lethal option here?
Only if the Bobcat's name
I
is
mean, Cal and Gary. Maybe he's referring to a caliber of Gary.
Why is it called Calgary? I mean,
It was just named after a guy called Gary.
Oh, no, it was named after Calgary Castle on the island of Mull in Scotland, which still makes no sense, but hey, at least we know.
Rogue loved the belly rubs.
Yeah, she prefers the rubs on the top of
these people, these Calgary
think...
Bobcat Services, their PO box is in Mad Again Plaza.
Hey, we didn't show their website. Let's show them some love. All right, we forgot to show you guys the websites of Calgary Bobcat Services. So I know that we're gonna have to get off here quite soon because of someone's.
Speak for yourself. I don't get off quite soon.
So this is Calgary Bobcat Services website. residential, commercial, and
See,
industrial.
no
task,
task.
too
This
tough.
is
You're
too
right
tough.
there.
Calgary Bobcat Services provides hauling, excavating, demolition, construction, and landscaping services to homeowners and business owners in Calgary and Central Alberta. Our skilled operators tackle jobs large and small. Proud to sponsor WhiSKR Whispers. They do
Learn
breaking
more.
and removal, small and big load.
Calgary Bobcat Services is a division of Doncor, concrete cutting and coring. Okay.
So there is
So when you call them up,
We-
you say, "I don't need any excavation, but I don't really care whether you haul off or demolish. I need a Bobcat serviced."
Well, they are a member of the concrete.
Whether you
sawing-
require Bobcat services for a renovation, construction, or landscaping project, our team readily provides courteous and professional service, including off-site recycling and disposal of waste materials.
Okay, well, they have small and big load hauling. So this is definitely a small haul. Breaking and removal, I mean, this would already be pretty big for my yard. Excavation, that would be way too big for my yard. Demolition, let's see. Yeah, that would take down my house. Construction and landscaping. Those would not fit in my yard.
Well, construction and landscaping, all you need to do is refer to that final dot point.
Yeah.
No. You're not on the page.
Oh, wait, which one?
Go back to services, construction, and landscaping.
Okay.
And then that final dot point is what you need.
And
more.
So
No job too tough.
So I got to make this call happen, preferably during business hours, because the guy who's on call right now is probably
Stoned.
and probably has this. Well, no, I hear.
I
that the
mean,
trade-
their email address is just a Gmail email account.
I mean, we could email them. But
Will you
but
sponsor our podcast?
I was told by the furnace cleaner, who turns out to be a distant cousin of mine, that the drug of choice amongst Calgary tradespeople is cocaine, not marijuana.
The person answering the phone is not a tradespeople.
No, in the middle of the night, it would be a person who could come out. It would definitely be a tradesperson. It's
Yeah, but
always someone who,
why in the
No.
middle of the night would you suddenly need a Bobcat excavator?
you're working at the tar sands and your excavator broke down.
And I guarantee you that the person answering the phone, anywhere that has a 24-hour phone line, the person who is answering the phone is not the person operating the equipment.
They are just a gatekeeper.
I can guarantee you that when I called the 24/7 line for someone to pick up, my
Alex
grandfather-
was actually a Bobcat person. Alex from the city. He was like, "Yes, I have an animal sciences degree. I specialized in Bobcat."
But for Rick's information, I can guarantee to Rick that when I called the 24/7 body removal line after my grandfather died, it was the guy who came to pick up the body who answered the phone, and he seemed annoyed that he had to do a pickup in the middle of the night. Just for the record.
I totally different things. Apples to oranges.
How? They're tradespeople. They're professionals in what they do.
I said that the one who is answering the phone is not the one who is operating the equipment, unless your dead relative was equipment that
Well,
the
he
person
operated-
coming to pick up was operating.
He operated the body bag and the gurney.
These things do not require licenses.
I wonder if they do. Though.
You see, when you refer to gurney, I just think of a pressure washer because my pressure washer is called gurney. But I digress.
Yes.
The point I want to make about this is that one of my friends actively applied for one of those jobs that goes and collects bodies and takes them to the morgue.
I don't know why.
And my immediate response to them was, "That's cool, but I honestly don't think you have the physical strength to like. What if the person has died in a stairwell, well, in an awkward position? Because this was a solo job. It wasn't you were working a team to do team lift operations.
No, I've heard there was a guy in Quebec, an autistic guy who was what we call a cockma, the guy who picks up the bodies, and he
Mhm.
wrote a book about doing it during COVID, and it got a lot of coverage because he was autistic, and then his employer fired him for writing the book, etc. And
I think that'd be a fascinating book to read.
it was.
Yeah, you should send us copies.
It's only
Yeah.
available in French, and you guys are not educated. Sorry.
We do not speak amphibian.
This is a weird background to starting my day at the office. Well, as
And
long as
still-
we're not on loudspeaker, it hopefully won't be your last day at the office.
Hey, and also, this show is sponsored by Lloyd Jenkins of Tourist Station, the voice of Tourist Station.
I thought it was Leroy Jenkins. Damn it! I rushed in for nothing.
Is it
We're
Lloyd or Floyd?
100% on loudspeaker.
What is the Tourist Station lore? It's
Can-
Lloyd
can your-
Baxter.
can-
God damn it! Why was I
D-
thinking?
does your workplace have a sponsorship to offer us?
He's the one of the two co-guys who lead Reality Boffin Studios. He's the creator of Tourist Station with Robbo. They're both excellent devs and human beings.
Okay.
But yeah, Tourist Station, proud sponsor of WhiSKR Whispers.
I do take issue with one thing in that last sentence.
What is that?
You
Proud?
said someone was an excellent human being, and such a thing has never existed.
Oh,
Well, you know who I'd
Well-
like to have as a sponsor of the show? A bathrobe manufacturer, because I only own two, and they're my favorite garment, as you can see.
I have one that I could send you since we're probably about the same size, but it says Kevin on it, so I don't think that would work, would it?
It would be fine. I'd still wear it. I don't care. I see people wearing things that say Nike on them, and I'm pretty sure they're not named after a Athenian god.
6-Bit says he's a proud sponsor of whatever the hell this is. 6-Bit, this is Charlie. This
No,
is
no. We need to now make a sponsor, another podcast called Whatever the Hell This Is, and then there's our first sponsor. I'm a masterful marketer. We've got
You
it in
are.
writing now.
This is the third episode of our weekly podcast, except for when Steven was in hospital and we didn't know if he would survive during his surgery.
Spoiler alert, I survived, unfortunately.
He's gonna. Oh, 6-Bit would say he would go with usually acceptable human.
See, yeah, I agree with that.
What about unusually acceptable human? Is that someone you would enter into a relationship with?
Well, I would say that 6-Bit is one of the nicer people that I know, although I don't know him in real life because he's in Wales. But he's
Wait, he's inside a marine mammal?
yes,
He's
he
inside
lives.
you?
He lives. and for those who did not get the joke, Halzor is a bit of a Steven is a bit of a whale in a certain game. But yeah, I still don't have a solution to this bobcat problem, and
I think you should get an orca and a massive tank of water. Place the massive tank of water in your backyard and place the orca there, and then you'll have a great new talking point around your fire pit, and that will be the orca in your above ground glass aquarium.
I have a better.
Then you can charge admission
Mhm.
to toddlers and their parents.
And
Have a
you
clown
just call yourself
as a side attraction, and the best part about all of this, it would be completely unlicensed by the county, and
Yes,
then
this
the
is-
organization of the business, not you, can discharge a firearm in that vicinity,
Oh.
destroying the bobcat.
Yes,
Yeah, it is a real bobcat problem. He
Yes,
has a
there's a-
literal bobcat.
there's
in
a
his
literal
garden.
bobcat in my yard. And there are other things that are going on that I've not mentioned to you that make this especially problematic at the current time.
The problem is that he's home alone because his wife is I wouldn't say detained, but under medical supervision for her best interests, and we wish her a speedy recovery, a
Yeah.
healthy,
thank you.
speedy recovery.
Thank
And the reality is he can't snuggle up to his wife and whisper all of his vulnerabilities to her, so he must do it publicly to us and to you. dear
And,
audience.
and he tried to snuggle up and whisper his insecurities
To the bobcat, but it didn't end well.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm wearing a shirt for once, because I don't want to have to show off the scars. I'm gonna get Yakuza tattoos to cover them up, because I think that's the only solution to the problem.
To bobcat inflicted scars.
No.
What if
because you decided to not be a hill giant?
What if you got a fursuit and pretended to be a larger bobcat?
What if I became a member of the Yakuza and got another Yakuza to shoot the bobcat? I mean, in video games, the Yakuza have pretty good aim.
Can you see the bottom of the barrel yet? Or have you scraped through the bottom of the barrel and you can now and you can now see the exterior world through the lens of the bottom of the barrel, and you're met with visions of none other than a bobcat.
Proudly sponsored by the Drive-By Truckers.
Alternatively, you envision the sweet, mesmerizing, peaceful vision of Calgary Bobcat Services arriving.
Don't you have to mark your territory? Like, take a few shits around the garden.
Well, my dog is doing that already, and that doesn't seem to be functioning.
Probably
no, that's just attracting. That's the food source.
The bobcat is kind of like, there's a creature here that I can eat. I shall return later to see if I can find this creature.
By your logic, it would be attracted to baby shit. But
you should also not shit there either.
It would eat
it would also think the same of you.
It would probably eat a baby, though.
But it would return for more.
It would probably eat a 13-year-old dog.
Yeah, which is the fucking root of this problem.
Which is why the dog taking shits in the garden is not fucking distracting or dissuading the bobcat's presence. Whereas if you do it, especially if it's seen you, it knows it can't get its mouth around that.
I know we have to go in a moment, but before we do, I want to show Charlie what my elegant solution that the gentlemen are refusing to participate in was, very briefly. So if I share...
This man is an unlicensed maniac. He doesn't have a license to maniac.
Okay. No, this is a very elegant and parsimonious solution. So
wow.
One of you guys...
I literally don't even know what parsimonious means.
It means...
I need to Google define that.
The smallest number of independent variables necessary to produce a dependent variable.
Funnily enough, I didn't know what the word meant, but I knew how to spell it.
So I have this machine. Which
parsimonious, very unwilling to spend money or use resources.
That's a different definition, not the scientific one.
Well, so I like this definition.
I own this machine, which is a snowblower, a 2-stage. This is these blades are to break up the ice.
You don't own that machine. You own a reproduction of a version of that machine.
Yes, whichever one came out of the cyclotron. So I want
as
someone
opposed to the Tron cycle.
So one of you guys is on the balcony with the power washer, and the cat is cornered.
Wait. Can you be on the balcony with a cigarette? Because anyone standing on a balcony must be holding a cigarette.
I'm on the balcony with the cigarette way too often. So yes, you can have a cigarette too. So one of you is there with the power washer spraying the cat, and hopefully the cat runs into the blades and produces pink mist. And actually, now that I realize it, I could just turn the snowblower thing in the direction of the neighbor's yard. The pink mist would go there rather than on my pergola. And I want another one of you, preferably Rick, since you have military training, to be there with the bow and arrow, ready to shoot the fucking bobcat if it tries to attack me by jumping over the snowblower rather than running into the blades. Because the snowblower is pretty fucking loud now that I think about it.
Also, okay, that was something that I didn't get into earlier, but even if it worked, it's not going to work. Because while, yes, those blades are made for crunching up ice and the entire machine is made for moving snow, bodies do not flow easily like that.
But I mean, I already
Yeah.
told you in Montreal they have these.
That
massive-
was a much larger machine, and the economy of scale here is not working in your favor.
How
I
many
guarantee
horsepower
before
is
you
the-
get
is the-
halfway
is
through
the-
the cat, that thing binds.
Yeah, it would stall this device out.
I mean, it's this setup right here, basically, that I'm talking about in Montreal.
Yeah, no, I get it. I've also lived in snowy climes. I might be in Florida now, but that does not make me a Floridian.
So
actually
I've
cursed my
got
boss
a
out today for calling
question.
me a
Like
Floridian.
they put all of this snow in the back of a truck. Where do they take the snow?
To the suburbs.
Do they just
typically-
dump it on people's lawns that haven't paid their property tax?
Bodies
no.
Don't Mist feels like a track title. I'm gonna write that now, 6-bit.
Sponsored by Sturgill Simpson's really good album, the 6-bit glitch turned me on to. The Sound and the Fury. Oh man, that fucking album. That record is so good. Man. Too bad we can't play it. Yeah,
I just think that you're going to have to learn how to coexist with Bobcat.
Yeah.
No, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna
How
call Calgary
to-
Bobcat Services and I'll fucking if
Well,
need be.
I my Google autocomplete is how to coexist with a narcissist, how to coexist with someone you hate, how to coexist with someone, how to coexist with carpenter bees.
Hey,
and then
narcissist, someone, wildlife, nature, your ex, AI, bears, coyotes, someone you hate.
how to deal with bobcats. Never offer it food. Do not run. A cat's instinct is to chase. If you're with others, stay together and try to act as a group. Face the animal and talk firmly while slowly backing away. Always leave the animal an escape route. Do not crouch down or try to hide. Instead, try to appear larger. Do not take your eyes off the animal or turn your back. If the animal does not flee, be more assertive by shouting, waving your arms, and throwing anything if available. So you could make the argument that your running chainsaw was the only object that you had available to throw.
But if you throw a chainsaw, you're releasing the trigger.
No, what you need is a zip tie, 3 chainsaws, and a clown that can juggle moving chainsaws.
Can the clown juggle?
It
the
all comes back to the
toddlers
clown.
and the toddlers.
No, they're just applauding.
They're just the distraction.
What if
Yeah.
I get a bobcat that spent some time in jail to come and fuck up the other bobcat and have its way with it? Hey, what if I just get a female? Wait, no, then I'll have a litter of bobcats in my yard. Oh, fuck me.
Consider motion sensing lights.
We have motion sensing lights, and I told you that sprinters are forbidden.
Use guard animals such as donkeys, llamas, and dogs. I've never heard of a donkey or a llama being a guard animal.
Actually, that makes sense to me.
Clearly, you've forgotten your favorite summoner, sir.
Donkey
If
guard
preventative
animals.
measures have all failed, landowners may humanely kill a lynx or bobcat that is damaging or about to damage their property.
My dog is technically my property. Donkeys-
Landowners can hire an agent, including a trapper, to act on their behalf. Your agent is Calgary Bobcat Services. You're hiring them to act on your behalf.
I think this is a video of a donkey taking out a bobcat. Oh God, we don't mean to show this here on this program.
That's
Because-
okay. All I'm seeing is visions of snowblowers.
Oh, good, because I was showing a video of a sheep that had been killed by a wild animal. Accidentally.
But I believe that's all we have time for today, friends,
Yes,
enemies,
but we are
air horn operators.
we are also if you would like to support the show. what's the other one we have here? Oh yes, because I'm a successful affiliate marketer. Let me just post it here. You got to do the crypto.com bit, Steve.
It's a website where you can sign up and buy crypto. Easy.
Yes, and if you
You
do
get
that,
you get some cashola.
you should go use this promo code. this referral code and give us $25.
We will use it to responsibly donate to Bobcat orphanages.
We will give the money to Calgary Bobcat Services.
Who sponsor us?
It's reverse sponsorship in order for us to
creating a
not talk
circular
about. No. It's reverse sponsorship in order for us to not talk about your company. You have to pay us.
Yes. And next week we will be back with more interesting non-sponsors.
And also more interesting nonsense.
Yes. Most importantly, nonsense.
In the meantime, I will let someone else lead us out of here as I thank all of our audience. And this is the first time we really had a live audience for joining us.
Yes. We've been WhiSKR Whispers. I'm Steve. The top guy's Kevin. The bottom guy's Rick. I'm stuck in the middle with both of them. Thank you all for being on this cyclotron of joy with us. And hopefully we'll be back again next week to let you know that Kevin hasn't been destroyed by a bobcat.
Cheers.
Good night.
Bye.